The Siege of Mandalore has begun, and honestly what an amazing opening episode to the 4-part story arc. The whole episode had me beaming the whole way through. Every shot, every scene, every moment was perfect. A really truly spectacular episode. And with new episodes comes new Easter eggs. So today I'm going to do a full breakdown of the episode to try and see what little sneaky things were hiding in there, while I try and fill the time until the next one comes out. So yes, this should be fun. So sit back, relax, and have some butter. Welcome to Star Wars Timelines. Okay, so this first thing isn't much of an Easter egg, but check out General Grievous! The new model looks amazing. I wasn't sure if we'd even get a look of Grievous in this season, if he'd have any moments or whatever, but it's amazing that we did, and he looks spectacular. Yes, this was only a really short shot in the intro, but even seeing him get a little cameo is just awesome. Like, I really hope we get to see Grievous in action this season. Especially, I'd love to see this new model take on Shakti or Master Windu at the Battle of Coruscant. I still don't know if we're going to get any of that battle, or if these next 4 episodes are only going to focus on the Siege of Mandalore. So I've got no idea if we're going to see any of the Battle of Coruscant or whatever, or any other scenes with Grievous or anything, but either way, even if we don't, it was still fun to see Grievous anyway, just with his new awesomeness. The next Easter egg we have is Caleb Dume, otherwise known as the Rebel Kanan Jarrus. We see him standing here by his master, Depa Billaba. It's great to see some Rebels connections hidden within the Clone Wars this season. And this isn't the only Rebel Easter egg either, but we'll come to that in a bit. We don't get to see Caleb speak or anything, or he's just in action. Again, this is just a little shot of him in the intro, but even seeing him in the Clone Wars is just, yeah, it's awesome. Another character that I would like to see a little bit of action as well in these final few episodes. Like, I'd like to see Kanan get a little bit, you know, get a bit of action in there with him. But like Grievous, even if we don't, it was still just awesome to see him. Also, Depa Billaba! We first saw her in The Phantom Menace, but she was more of a side character. She never had an arc of her own in the Clone Wars, and was sort of just seen as a filler Jedi. But after the Kanan Marvel comic series, she became much more known and beloved for her work in training Caleb Dume, who would later become Kanan Jarrus in Rebels. We then have some Order 66 Easter eggs here. We see Plo Koon and Aayla Secura fighting on Cato Nemoidia and Felucia. Now, for those who've seen Revenge of the Sith, you'll know that these are the planets that these 2 particular Jedi are on when Order 66 is executed. So this gives us an idea on how close we are now to the end. That these are literally the final days of the Clone Wars and of the Jedi Order. When I first saw Order 66 when watching Revenge of the Sith, it hit me hard. But now, after 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, and becoming connected with these characters, especially Plo Koon, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to see Clone Wars Order 66. I don't know. It's gonna be hard, because when you see it in the film, you know, you're connected to the characters, but they don't have the same models, so it's a bit weirder. But watching these animated models, potentially watching their deaths, that's gonna be hard! Now, the next big reveal is the name of the planet Anakin, Obi-Wan, Rex, and Cody are fighting on in the opening part of the episode, which is Yobana, a planet that I, as well as a few others, thought would end up being Cato Nemoidia. So we were all a little mistaken completely, and it ended up just being a whole new planet. Coincidentally, Yobana is also Twi'leki for Masseuse. Just a fun, pointless little fact there, but, you know, I'm counting that as an Easter egg. Now, the next big Easter egg is the return of Fulcrum. Anakin is contacted by Yularen and brought back to the cruiser on the information that someone has contacted them using the codename Fulcrum. At first, Anakin and Obi-Wan assume this to be Saw Gerrera. Obi-Wan comments that a siege on Onderon has taken a turn for the worse, maybe. This means that Onderon is once again at war. Now, the last time we saw the planet, the rebels had reinstated Dendup as the king of Onderon and thrown the separatists off of the planet. So this means Onderon is once again in another type of war. But more to the point, Fulcrum! I mean, Fulcrum, as many of you will know, was the code name for the Rebel Alliance operatives during the Galactic War. Ahsoka uses the name in Rebels to keep her true identity hidden, and the name is also later used by Kallus after he betrays the Empire to join the rebellion. And after 66, Ahsoka was actually recruited by Bail Organa into the rebellion, who gave her that codename. So I suppose this is the origin of the codename Fulcrum. Fitting as well that Ahsoka is the one using it. The next fun little connection is the mention of Shakti protecting the Chancellor, but Windu losing contact with her. Now, an interesting fact here is that between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, a series of 2D short animated clips known as the Clone Wars are broadcasted on Cartoon Network. This series was meant to bridge the gap between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and at the end, we saw the Battle of Coruscant. However, this series became Legends, or at the time it was known as the Expanded Universe, after the release of the 3D Clone Wars animated series. The new Clone Wars became canon and has retconned a lot of things that the old TV show had set. However, it has not retconned Shakti attempting to protect the Chancellor. This was a whole act during the Battle of Coruscant, where Shakti attempted to escort the Chancellor to his security room. She ultimately failed after a duel with General Grievous. He then chained her up and kidnapped the Chancellor. This was followed by a short showdown between Windu and Grievous, where Windu crushed Grievous' armour, injuring him badly, and caused this cough, which was the Legend's origin of his cough. And then Grievous then escaped with Palpatine to the Invisible Hand, and then that kind of tied right into the opening of Revenge of the Sith. Now, while the Battle of Coruscant was happening, Anakin and Obi-Wan were in the Outer Rim on their own mission. It was only after Palpatine was captured, which was when they were called to Coruscant. Now, this episode revealed that they were called at the start of the battle, but it was confirmed here that Shakti was the one in charge of Palpatine's protection, much like it had been in Legends. But at this point, Windu had lost contact with her. So while we may not actually see the canon version of the Battle of Coruscant or of this little act, we can assume it's very close to that of the old Clone Wars series, about kind of what happens. Now, the next connection we have is the second return of Ursa Wren. She had come back in an earlier episode of the Clone Wars, but once again we now see her in action against Maul's forces. As well as this, we also see the return of Gar Saxon. Ursa Wren was first featured in Star Wars Rebels, and Gar Saxon was first featured in the Maul comic Son of Dathomir, but then was later as a character in Rebels. They even fought against each other in Rebels, and Ursa would eventually come to kill Gar Saxon. But here, they are both very much alive and well. We even get to see Gar Saxon's face, in which it's very similar to his Rebels counterpart model. Now, through all of this, I have to ask, will we get to see Fen Rao, the Mandalorian protector featured in Rebels? Now, we know Rao aided the Republic as well as Caleb Dume in the early stages of the Battle of Mygeeto. So where is he now? Will we get to see him aid the Republic against Maul? Or maybe he won't make a cameo this season. It might be fun to see him up against Gar Saxon, though at this point I don't know how many more Mandalorians we can fit in. As well as this, we also have the return of Rook Kast, who was also featured in the Darth Maul Son of Dathomir comic, where she aided Darth Maul. The final Easter egg I have to show you guys today is the return of some of the old voice actors. So we had Donald Faison, who voiced Hyped Faison in The Resistance, the TV show Resistance, and in this he voiced the Separatist tactical droid that Anakin chopped in half at the opening battle. We also get to once again hear the voice of Vanessa Marshall, who voiced Hera Syndulla in Star Wars Rebels. In this episode though, she voiced Rook Kast. Now these are all the Easter eggs and hidden things I have to show you in this episode, but blimey what an episode. I think it honestly might be one of the strongest and my most favourite episodes in the last 7 seasons. Definitely at least my favourite so far in at least season 7. It was such a start and left me desperate for more. I genuinely can't wait until next Friday, just to see what happens next. We also have some news that the final episode of this season will air on the 4th of May, or May the 4th, which will be a Monday. So the last episode will be on a Monday, not a Friday. So there's a little fun fact for you. Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.